That ends Elmet by Magelight. You did it all.
Congratulations, you go through a whole episode. It's only 11:30.
It's only 11:30, but we did get... On Wednesday night at 6 p.m. with an expected arrival at 7 a.m. Saturday morning. Your train speeds southward across Elena's frosted plain, providing its own rhythmic accompaniment. The peak of Mount Tamorin appears white against the cold leaden sky because it is rest day morning. Early. Later, a low cloud becomes visible, a mantle on the mountain's rising shoulders that stretches from the west horizon to the east. A body of fog rolling off of the inner sea to cover Tamorin, east side, and the shores of Elena. The landscape starts to transform from the pastoral scenes of the countryside to islands of brick and cobblestone, outliers and suburbs of the cities ahead. The train rattles over bridges, through tunnels, and across viaducts. When it stops at stations, the platforms are increasingly crowded with people, making their way into the cities for the day. Soon crowds of people throng the stations, amid them street vendors that peddle their wares, hawking everything from hot pies to cheap trinkets, their cries submerged in an accumulation of city sounds. Speeding still onward, you approach the city of the High King. Breaks in the fog reveal the emerging skyline, a forest of steeples, towers, and domes that rise above the city. To your left, you glimpse the Tamorin River, and two huge towers facing each other across the water. Their intricate lattices of Kesut steel, ominous sentinels rising high over each shore. To your right, you see the Cathedral of Tamorin, its extraordinary spires and grand dome tearing up through the mist to glisten in the faint sunlight. A minute later, you pass the capital of the realm with its own great dome and marble halls. Still eastward, beyond the dark swirling waters of the Tamorin River, the fog is thicker, a gloom and shadow seemingly more substantial than the transient mists of which it is made. The train begins to slow to its last stop. Rail lines curve out of the mist to run beside your train. The rattle-tap of the carriage slows as the train brakes, and you enter the shelter of Tamorin Central Station, the last stop of your trip. The train comes to a final jerking halt, and your fellow passengers fill the carriage with a flurry of activity as they move to disembark. You exit your carriage. Just a few cars forward, the great engine at last rests from its long labor, creaking and pinging as it cools. Passengers hurry about you, their faces a blur of purpose and urgency. And then you see a woman standing with a paper sign held above her head. On it is written, Centurion Kane's Guests. Her name is Miriam Turin Greyhold, and she is there to take you to the capital to meet Damien. You are off the train. You are met by Miriam, and she leads you from there to a carriage, and you all get in the carriage and roll along, and the capital, Tamorin, city of the High King, is befogged. Yes. And as such, there is no clear sun in the sky. You've got a general, the indirect lighting of which Eureka, California, perpetually exists in, and leads to some of the greatest states of depression anywhere in the country.
If I could unfog it, I would.
The carriage takes you along through various streets and avenues, and at last deposits you at the foot of a low hill. And Miriam leads the way out, pays the cabbie, and it moves off into the busy streets. Carriages rattle by. There are horses' hooves clattering against the cobblestones. while newspaper vendors bark the latest tidings and street urchins peddle their wares. Miriam cheerfully leads you on. Here, the cityscape gives way to the lush greenery of the High Kings Parkway. A wide, meticulously maintained pathway leads you upward. On either side, monuments and memorials rise like sentinels, each one telling a different chapter of the realm's history. As you ascend, the mists slowly give way, and the capital itself comes into view, its iconic dome dominating the skyline. The white marble facade, adorned with intricate details, gleams golden in the weak sunlight. Reaching the top of the hill, you stand before the capital's wide marble steps, the threshold of the capital's halls. At the top of the steps stand imposing columns, and beyond them the colossal bronze doors that open to the heart of the realm's daily government. Miriam leads you in without pause. And you pass through the huge doors into an antechamber, an echoing antechamber. Passage goes ahead, and she's just walking along like this is nothing. But this is a little bit more than nothing. There's a lot of wealth. There's a lot of... Yes, dear?
Nothing. No, nothing.
She's like, I see nothing. Miriam, cool shawl.
No, I wasn't perception. It was just, I don't know what I was
Coolness?
rolling for.
The inability to look like a country bumpkin?
If it was coolness, it didn't go well. I mean, whatever it is, it didn't go well.
Did you try to pocket a chandelier just now? What? No, clink, clink.
Aw.
Aw.
Aw. Not aw.
Yeah, no.
AWE?
It is imposing. You statues.
She's imposed.
Statues that go by that other people would recognize, but you don't. Include people with statues with names like Sir Gilbert,
Oh.
and then one that's been pushed into a corner and turned around that would say Sir Elias, but
Oh no.
he probably was the one that did the pushing.
I was gonna say, who would do that?
Who would do that?
Himself.
The passage she leads you down enters into a wide rotunda, and at the bottom of this rotunda, you take a moment to look up, and that's probably when that happens, because you experience a sense of vertigo.
Valid.
Because this just rises up to a grand dome that eventually comes together at the very top. And there is such a huge sense of volume in this room. And weight. And somehow an airy volume contained within an immeasurable weight. And from there, you turn left. Down that passage, you see in the distance, it leads to two highly carved, very big doors. You don't ever get there. You're turned aside into another hallway, and then boom, through a door, and you're in a office suite. There's when you walk in that door, there's a young lady sitting behind a desk who starts to say, and it's Miriam. It's like, oh, hi, Miriam. There's two guys sitting off to one side, and it is your. Give me any kind of roll here that's any kind of roll that's not a 20.
4.
Okay.
4, 7.
These are the guys who would appear it is their job to kill you or anybody else who is not supposed to be here.
Why is that what I roll well for?
As it turns out, you've arrived mean, this is basically 9 o'clock in the morning. And on short order, you meet 2 individuals. There's the receptionist who you are out of the room with the receptionist because that entry room is an airlock. And
They were gonna kill us. They'd kill us there.
yes, once you're out of the airlock in the room, you end up meeting Sarah Niger and Johan Andersson. And they are aged just like Miriam, except older. Miriam is in her early 20s. Sarah is in her late 20s. And Johan is mid-30s, which, from your perspective, may seem like ancient. On short order, you find out that the Centurion is currently in the Century, and they are busy about something or other, and he's occupado. And so
I've got 99 problems.
yeah, and Miriam
Apparently so.
offers you, would you like breakfast?
I would love some breakfast.
Yes, please.
So all 3 of you are, she takes you to the Capitol's cafeteria, and there you have a very nice breakfast.
Great.
And you can sit and talk and feel like you're on the train from the standpoint of watching the tick, 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 tick. As time goes on, eventually you leave the cafeteria, you can go back, there are books that you can read, however you wish to occupy yourself.
Okay.
Because he doesn't show up at noon when they offered, would you like lunch?
I would love some lunch.
Yes, please.
They take you to the cafeteria, and you get to have a very nice lunch.
Very nice.
Or sorry, not lunch, sorry.
Dinner.
Dinner, yeah, dinner.
You know what you meant.
And,
It's been localized.
And when you finally, you eat as long as you want, and
How we're getting to the east side?
well, Miriam's like, it depends on the Centurion schedule is very, very compact. We were expecting to go this morning. However, they had a special meeting of the Century, and as such, it's as soon as that's out, we will get back to our regularly scheduled activities, which is next.
Okay.
It is probably approaching 2 hours after noon when Damien walks into the door, not walk into the door, but walks through the door, and
Roll for dexterity.
yeah, he
That doesn't make it any better.
I close his book on
Yeah.
recent East Side history.
he looks reasonably harried, and like he has been quite actually busy. Behold, he's here. I'm gonna get a drink. Oh,
You're the-
shoot, I'm missed.
You're in this scene.
I mean,
Yeah.
you can still get a drink.
You're the people Arliss had asked me to take care of. I am Damien King. You are?
Terrelyn, sir.
Terrelyn.
Andrew.
Andrew.
Timaeus Ardan Savan.
Alright, and you're their guardian for this,
We'll say yes.
Sure.
Yes, sure.
Side note, have I actually been apprised as to when in the world they're trying, or are they going to spring it on me right now?
No, you were given the information. You've been able to locate where you're going.
Okay. Well, shall we be off then? It's already way too late.
Of course. Do we have a plan for once we get there?
The bank does know. They've been apprised that he is coming.
Well, that's not necessarily a good thing.
They have hidden all the information he seeks to find.
Yes.
But
I've scheduled.
you have a carriage schedule.
I have the bank's ear. Let us go.
Okay.
So I need to swing by a market real quick on our way.
Market, you say? Okay.
What are you getting?
Just need to grab some produce. Grab some food. You don't want to buy food in the east side.
I concur.
Heading out, there are indeed on the path down to the carriages. There is a number of street vendors.
We should go to a cafe and grab some free food.
Okay.
And then on our way.
Oh, good point. Okay.
Poor kid, Strax.
Street
Why do you think I'm here so much?
I may not know much, but I know every story that says food stamps with it.
I know how to mooch off a centurion. Thank you very much.
Having done your mooching, you go out the back way to where the centurions.
Left my halo in the office. I don't take that to the east side.
Okay. Yeah. And get into the carriage. Away you go.
You're not even here. What are you doing?
What are you crying about?
Everything's fine.
And the carriage takes you to a ferry. And you get off and get onto the ferry because the carriage goes on its way. It'll be back. Hick and Flick are with you, as is Miriam. The afternoon sun, a wan and feeble specter, struggles to pierce the heavy shroud of fog that lays draped over the cities of Tamorin and Eastside. Tamorin maintains a celestial, ethereal quality, wherein the clouds of heaven have bowed themselves to the earth. The city's towers, the spires, and the domes together pierce the mist upward and allow the rays of the weakened sun to tumble down in cascades to the dew-bejeweled cobblestones of the city streets. But as the ferry leaves Tamorin's shore, the fog chokes the light. The city of the High King dissolves behind you, leaving a dreamscape defined by the chimerical mists above and around you, and the swirling obsidian waters of the river beneath. Distant bell buoys ring out mournfully, their tolling rendered ghostly in the oppressive dampness of the air. The waters behind the ferry churn, but all substantial evidence of forward motion fades, unless it is a sense of deepening gloom. Time itself seems suspended, lost in the obscurity of the fog as you drift further into a spectral realm where neither day nor night holds sway, where both have surrendered their claim to the pervading twilight shadow. The outline of a stone quay appears to your right, and you catch a muted murmur of relief from the ferry's crew. The shore of Eastside materializes out of the mist like a long-forgotten memory emerging from the recesses of a troubled mind. You hear the muffled sounds of horses' hoofs, the rumble of wagon wheels, the distant shouts of teamsters about their business. The ferry's crew opens the forward gate, and whips crack, driving the horse-drawn carriages into motion, their wheels clattering down off of the ferry and onto the cobbled street. You stay to the side, out of the tide of wheeled and horse traffic, and follow the centurion and his two men. Around you, shrouded figures walk with hesitant steps. Their faces, obscured by veils and scarves, bear expressions of resignation. Shadows dance upon the cobblestone streets, and mage lamps flicker weakly, casting eerie, wavering beams of light that only serve to deepen the sense of unreality. As you walk, you have a growing sense of being watched, of being followed. Beside you, Timaeus stands taller and broadens his shoulders. His hands almost close into fists, and then return intentionally to a false relaxation.
I'm sorry, who was the he?
Timaeus?
And Andrew does the same. Shoulders back. Help.
So you're standing taller, looking meaner, more dangerous.
I put on my hood.
He then, his hands close almost into fists and then return intentionally to a false relaxation as he draws virtue about himself like a weapon and a shield. His eyes glance to you and to Andrew for an instant, noting your place. Around you, street vendors, beggars, supplicants, street urchins, women, men, horses, and mongrel dogs move in shifting currents. Certain men turn to sinister figures in the gloom, lurk in corners, their faces hidden beneath the brims of tattered hats. The eyes of some gleam with a desperate hunger, and the eyes of others gleam not at all, but are as black and dead as any shark in the pitiless ocean. Before you, a facade of wealth and prestige crowds along the main avenues, but immediately beyond them, lesser streets and narrow ways lead to dilapidated buildings from which flow the echoed whispers of plots and illicit dealings. The music of the shadows, a symphony of muffled voices and shuffling footsteps, plays out in the dimly lit taverns and purse-spiced dens hidden behind discreet doors. East Side's aromas, though muted by the cold, are myriad and thick. Sweat, bread, salt, and a host of others, all vying and failing to overwhelm the fetor of stale urine, rotten eggs, and a weird unnamed sweetness. The cobblestones, slick with a thin layer of frost and filth, are treacherous underfoot. At a word from Damien, one of his henchmen shouts, catching the attention of a nearby cabbie. And cabbie stops.
It's Strawberry. And Andrew walks up to the horse.
The cabbie looks down at you, says,
Andrew pulls a couple carrots out of his pocket, walks up to the horse, pats the arm out. Good to see you, girl.
and the guy looks down at you.
Hey, Frankus.
Andrew? Haven't seen you in forever.
Oh, it's only been about 5 years.
Which here is forever.
Strawberry was younger back then.
We all work.
Hit climbs up on the, actually goes in back. No, he climbs up on the front with the cabbie.
Okay.
Flick opens the door and surveils the interior before stepping back and allowing. Who do you allow in? Well, who do you allow in first? Probably you in first. Miriam. Miriam gets to go in first.
Miriam gets to go first.
Miriam
Girls.
Yeah, Miriam goes in first just to make sure the place is safe. Then you can go.
Yeah. It was like first into the den of hyenas, or?
And
Carrots,
cabbie.
yeah, it's a good cat.
Oh.
Yeah.
And Timaeus helps you up. I assume you.
Can I sit up front with the cabbie?
Sure. Join. Climb up
Frankus?
Frankus.
Okay.
It doesn't mean
The same
that
way.
everybody in the city is evil and lost. It just means it's not a good place for them to be.
David, we chat the state of the landscape.
You do. There's at least one other individual that you recognize that disappears from your sight, but it's not a bad recognition.
Okay.
And the carriage moves forward. This is a sea of people, and except for Frank, who you knew this was his normal transit place, you don't recognize. 5 years is like 2 lifetimes in this place.
So the plan is to go talk to the bank,
Yep.
get our information, get out.
In, out, done.
Yeah,
this one?
nothing too crazy.
Nope.
Sounds great.
And if you guys have planned something crazy, I hope you guys have figured it out. Unlike our friend who was last here.
We want no crazy.
Sorry?
Talking about
I know
Arliss.
all songs. I know this
Oh.
song.
Yeah, no crazy.
No crazy.
No.
The Fankos sends the cabbie through. You are the cabbie. The cab itself doesn't offer window. The windows are closed, probably for your protection as much as anybody else. And so when the carriage at last comes to a stop, you are in a completely different portion of the city, and it is a square that has. This is probably about the most affluent portion of East Side. This is like being in the heart of San Francisco. And as you well know, right now you can walk out of City Hall of San Francisco and see homeless and be on the edge of being robbed. But this is the wealthiest and finest place to be.
cost of living is going down further and further every day.
As one of the guards opens the door, Andrew leaps down to help the ladies out.
Okay. Hick isn't down immediately. He is surveilling.
Already
So
finished that part.
yeah, and you are the first. Or, sorry, not you. Other you. Flick is the first one out. I have a hard time because in my mind. So Flick is out first. Confirmed safe. At which point Andrew can help you out.
You can try to help. You can stand there, but if you like offer a hand, she will not take it.
That's fine.
Yeah.
She goes down. Miriam comes out. She does take the hand and maintains her stability on the cobblestones. And everybody disembarks.